Hi, today is Thursday, April 27th, 2017, and this is A Swede Speaks. And as I promised, I am making a question and answers video today, a Q&A video, and I got enough questions to make several videos, so I will answer a few questions in this video, and in this video I will focus on what you might call the political questions. I got a few theological questions too, and they are very interesting. I will make a video where I respond to some of these questions, and I intend to make that video by the middle of next week. Let's say Wednesday or Thursday next week. So this video will be what we might call strictly political. At least I'll try to keep it strictly political, while a more theological video, or well, a video to respond some of the theological questions, will be made next week. So I have picked out a few questions in no particular order with that I will respond to. I just have to adjust the camera a little, I think. Let's see. Yes. So the first question that I intend to respond to now is a question by Happy Stars 234, and the question is, God bless you. Would you describe yourself as a Swedish nationalist? That's actually a very interesting question, because I never really thought of myself as a nationalist. And in one way, I mean, I think that nationalism, what you might call sane nationalism, is a part of conservatism. In the United States you would call that patriotism, while I think nationalism is a more loaded word there. While in Europe it seems to be the other way around. At least nationalism is a word that in some countries in Europe it's a little... But I mean, I am of course a defender of the nation state. But the nation state, given with its historical minorities, I mean, I have no problems with the Finns living in Sweden or Swedish-speaking people living in Finland, etc. But most of all, I consider myself a defender of Western civilization. And I think that Sweden is, or at least historically has been and should be a part of that civilization. Mas9510 asks, if Norway goes full Sweden, would you leave, and where to? To which my response is, I will probably leave long before that happens. And this is pretty much a personal issue, so I will tell you more about that when I have left. Then I will tell you where I am and why I left. But right now, that's all I'm saying about that. My Finnish friend Mikael Hyttiäinen wrote a long comment, or he wrote several, but one of them was more political, and I am not quoting it exactly, but I have picked out, well, what I understood to be his two main questions in that comment. And the first one is whether there is a genetic explanation for the rise of the West, or of Western civilization. I would say that, I mean, I'm not ruling out that completely, but I stick with philosophy and culture here, and I think it has something to do with Judeo-Christian civilization. Because even though there were other civilizations in Europe before Christianity, and they had some success, but they fell. And the Western civilization today seems to be falling in a de-Christianized Europe and in a de-Christianized Canada. Okay, I had to mention that. But my explanation is mainly philosophical and cultural, and I mean the philosophy and the culture that comes from Judeo-Christian civilization. A civilization that, among other things, promotes individualism, including individual initiatives, and this civilization once included North Africa and the Middle East. That was the home of high Christian cultures before they were Islamized. And he also writes in his comment about that we should not run away from racist points, but rather be open to them, because the more reasons we have to do something, cultural, religious and genetic, the more likely we are to achieve change. Well, if you look isolated at only Europe, or only Sweden, or only Finland, there could be something to that. But I would say that, my main, let's call it struggle, my main struggle is actually against Islamization and in favor of Western civilization. But I would be in favor of any civilization that goes against Islamization, which means that in China I would promote Chinese civilization rather than Islamic. In Thailand I would promote Thai civilization rather than Islamic, etc. And well, yeah, we might be able to ally ourselves with people using genetic explanations. However, when it comes to being opposed to Islamization, there are white Europeans opposing it, just like there are Jews, Black Americans, Sub-Saharan Africans, Thai people, Japanese, etc. opposing Islamization. And if we would build what we might call some kind of global alliance, even if it would be philosophical and many of the battles would be held on the philosophical battleground before they reach any other battleground, it would be easier to make that kind of alliance without making genetical explanations a part of the argument, because that would be a dividing factor. At least that's what I think. And the lovely Alicia Bell writes, what would the perfect political party look like? And another question would be, what would be the first step Sweden could make to return to sanity? Well, a perfect party, in my view, would mix economic libertarianism with cultural conservatism, and it would promote checks and balances in the power structures in Sweden. I mean, between politicians, between judges, and also between the head of state, who in Sweden today has no power at all. And it would promote freedom of speech, personal responsibility, and Western civilization. I think that would be the main things that party would promote. And of course, it would also promote replacing the entire party politics system with a system where you elect candidates rather than parties. I would be fine with the US party system, where you still vote for candidates, at least if I understood anything correct. And the first step for Sweden to return to sanity? I think the first step would be to allow an open debate. I am not really sure how to achieve this in Sweden because of the conformist nature of Sweden. But I think if anything is to be changed in Sweden peacefully, first of all the issues needs to be addressed. And those were the questions that I chose to address now. I will address more questions next week. And next week I intend to address some of the theological questions. So I'm not running away from them, but I can't respond to everything at once. So I think if I mix it, if I make a political response today and a theological response next week, that might make sense. I would like to thank everyone who wrote questions, who took time to think out questions. Whether I agree with the question and the premises or not isn't important. I'm happy for that. And I would like to thank the people who are supporting this channel through prayers, through Patreon, through PayPal. It's all greatly appreciated. And if you like this channel, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. Please share my videos on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and whatever. And if you got something to say, feel free to comment. But actually, questions, I would rather have them in the thread of the pre-Q&A announcement video. So I will include a link to that video in the information box below, together with any other links. And if you like this video, please like it. And of course, as always, I would like to encourage you to support this channel. And I will include all the necessary information in the information box below. This is A Swede Speaks. Have a nice day.